Many people find insects gross and unimportant. At first, that's what I thought too. But after learning these amazing facts, I understand why insects are so essential to our environment. We are now going to share with you some interesting things about some common insects and why we really do need insects to survive and thrive. We need insects for many very important reasons, one being pollination. Have you ever gone to pick up a flower and noticed an insect fly off of the flower as soon as you pick it up? Have you ever wondered what it was doing? Well, it was collecting nectar, and in the process it was gathering pollen, which is sticking to its body. After it collects the nectar, it will fly off to a new flower and transfer the pollen stuck to its body to a new plant, and that is called pollination. This flower is called a hosta. It is shaped like a tunnel or a bell. The insect has to crawl inside the blossom to get the nectar. This means that the pollen from the flower will get caught on the insect's head and legs. This flower is called a daisy. It is shaped like a landing pad or an umbrella. The insect has to walk on the blossom to get the nectar. This means that the pollen from the flower will get caught on the insect's legs and some of the face. So, without insect pollination, we would have very few flowers, as well as all the food that comes from those plants. Now, let's study some fascinating features that make insects so unique. Each type of insect has its own unique life cycle. The two main kinds of life cycles are simple and complete. We are going to compare the two.
The cycle of the Carolina grasshopper is simple and includes 3 stages: egg, nymph, and adult. The nymph and adult look very similar. The nymph doesn't have all the same body parts as the adult. Did you know that only in approximately 32 days the nymph grasshopper can go from having no wings to having a full set of wings?
The life cycle of the yellow jacket has 4 stages: egg, larva, pupa, and adult. This is called a complete metamorphosis. The yellow jacket starts as a small white cylinder and ends up as a yellow and black insect with wings, antenna, and legs.
Next, we are going to study the physical adaptations that all insects have in common. All insects have a thorax, abdomen, and 6 legs. Insects' legs come in different colors, shapes, and sizes. For example, houseflies are often found rubbing their back legs and cleaning themselves with the hairs on their tibia. Additionally, flies also clean their wings and compound eyes. Legs and wings are used to move and to escape predators. These changes or adaptations help the insect survive where it lives. For example, the tibia on this leg has spines that help grab the grass blades. Their large mottled femur helps them jump long distances. Insects also have evolved to eat only specific plants. Something you may not know is that insects are very picky about what plants that they use for food and shelter.
Single animal on Earth gets their energy from plants or organisms that eat plants. The group of animals who are most responsible for passing energy up the food chain are insects. This is a big part of making a healthy environment. If you take out insects from the food chain, for example, then the birds won't have anything to feed their young. Then the animals that depend on birds will be wiped out. This will lead to a chain reaction, and eventually every single organism on the face of this planet will be gone because the insects were taken away. Since every single insect has evolved to eating a specific type of food, an easy way to cause this chain reaction is to take away that food source. Native plants have been here so long that they have balance with other species. Insects need specific types of plants to live off of, like the Canadian swallowtail needs the paper birch to lay their eggs. Invasive species have been here for a shorter amount of time, and they have a bad impact on species balance because they will replace natives. To illustrate, the widow skimmer uses cattails to lay its eggs, but when phragmites replace the cattails, the widow skimmer has one less place to lay its eggs. Humans have taken 95% of the natural environment in this whole country and put in cities, farms, factories, and things like that do not help nature. If we put native plants and things like that in our backyard, we can bring back some habitat to the animals, then the biodiversity that helps out Mother Nature. You have seen insects that need native plants and not invasive plants for surviving. They also need a stable climate.
How could climate change affect insects? What is climate change? Climate change is the process of our planet getting warmer. When climate changes too quickly, it has a big impact on all of the species in the region. Climate change is causing temperatures to rise in some areas. The widow skimmer is one example of an insect that is getting impacted by climate change. Adult widow skimmers need warm conditions to fly because the temperature is quickly changing. The widow skimmer's flying patterns may be disrupted. Grasshoppers are affected by climate change. Warming climates increasing the amount of grasshoppers because they have time for more generations to grow and develop. The changing won't be affecting them in a bad way. However, it will affect other insects because there will be more grasshoppers. The imbalance will affect humans. 2 things we can do to slow the effects of climate change are plant native plants wherever you can and limit your use of fossil fuels. This can help the species in area have more time to adapt and find a new balance.
As you can see, humans need insects because they help complete the ecosystem that we live in. We need to start sharing our environment with the insects. Hopefully, we can save the biodiversity that still exists. If you want to join us in helping insects, here are a few ways to do so. First, leaves are more important than you thought. Insects use leaves for shelter and food during the winter and other seasons, so you can leave your leaves on the ground to help the insects survive. Another way to help the insects is to have a small dish with clean water and stones for the insects to perch. Lastly, many people use pesticides that kill insects that are doing no harm, so you can instead use beneficial insects for your pest control.